According to Tony Robbins, human beings have 6 basic needs in life. In this video, I'm going to discuss what those 6 basic needs are and what you can do with your money to meet those needs more predictably so you can lead a more fulfilled life. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a new video because I got videos like this coming out every single day. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and today is a really fun video. I'm talking about something that I think about all the time, and that I've been really inspired by. It's actually one of the kind of revelations that I had a long time ago that got me to really believe in whole life insurance. And I actually had a conversation with somebody today that really sparked this video. And in fact, that conversation I'm going to put a link to because it was an actual interview that I did with a guy named Michael Isom. Phenomenal interview, but it really got me thinking about this, and I was like, wow, this is so important, I need to make a video on it. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna go through 6 basic needs that human beings have, and ultimately how that aligns with your money, and why I think when you reverse engineer this conversation, whole life insurance becomes a real no-brainer when it comes to you making decisions as to if you want whole life insurance, what role it plays in your life, what needs it needs to fill in your life, and really ultimately what your wants, needs, and objectives are. Then we can figure out. So before I get into the individual needs, I think it's important to know as I go through this that while every single person has all 6 basic needs in some capacity, the level of relevance and importance and prioritization for those basic needs in your life is going to shift from personality to personality, from lifestyle to lifestyle, relationship to relationship. And it's going to be maybe a little different in your personal life than it is your business life, but make no mistake about it, everybody has all of these needs. And I think when you really get to understand what your needs are and kind of what your prioritization of these needs are in your life, both professionally and personally, it can make a drastic impact on how you show up in your life and how you make your decisions in every capacity. So let's go. So the first basic need is actually certainty. Now, according to Tony Robbins, every single person has this basic need of certainty. We all need to be able to feel secure and certain about our future in some capacity. So how does that play with money? Well, I talk about it in my Life 180 Pyramid talk all the time. The importance of focusing on financial structure and not assets is one of the most important elements for financial success. Warren Buffett always talks about the fact that, like, if you go out and you invest before you save and you don't have enough safe, liquid, accessible capital, you're not really an investor, you're just a speculator. And so what that does is you can be an investor and you can have a high net worth, but if you don't have the right financial structure, it really means you don't have a lot of security and a lot of certainty about your future. And so what I love about whole life insurance when it comes from this first basic human need is that if you utilize whole life insurance not as an investment, but as a savings account alternative, it's going to provide certainty and security for your future, and there's not another asset in the world that will be able to do for you in that capacity what whole life insurance can do for you. So that's certainty, number 1. Now, the second basic need is actually uncertainty and variety. So think about it this way. We all have this need to go out and try new things. Now, how we manage and understand our need for variety and uncertainty is really, really important. I think it's really important in our marriages, for instance. If we want variety, we need to figure out how to get that variety in the context, inside of the confines of that relationship. I know as an entrepreneur, needing variety and the desire to go out and start new businesses and have new ventures and do new projects and all these different things, that can be really powerful if it's harnessed the right way. And it certainly fills a need by getting that variety need, but it can also be super catastrophic and detrimental to the progress and the momentum of the business if it is a distraction. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs suffer from this through shiny object syndrome. Now, the way I look at this, though, is the fact that we do need variety. And I think that it's healthy to seek variety. So I think when we're looking at variety from an investment perspective, or uncertainty as an investment perspective, and what we're doing with our money, I think this is where the phrase "we need to save to invest" and we need to save with the intent of investing, right? And from that perspective, it allows us to kind of keep that uncertainty of the future in place. So we're chasing something. So we have the knowledge that we can accomplish something big, and that we can take swings maybe at real estate projects or businesses or whatever. But I'm also a believer that you should only invest in things that you understand, invest in your unique ability areas, and where you have the ability to control some of the outcome, right? And that's why I'm a huge believer in utilizing whole life insurance as a foundational asset in our life, because it's all about control. It's all about forcing you to become more. Now, here's the deal with the uncertainty thing. One of the biggest risks that I see, and one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, is they go out and they take too much risk too quickly. Now, if we focus on number one, certainty, and then number two, uncertainty, and just variety, I would say that when we build our financial foundation from the bottom up, and I talk about the Life 180 pyramid, I'll put the link up above here so you can check that video out after. I'll also put it on the end screen so you can check it out. When we talk about this, it's the importance of that financial structure and building from the bottom up. When we have that foundation of certainty, it allows us to go out and be investors and not be speculators. And that allows us to, when we go out and invest, we can go take that variety and go chase it, but do it in a healthy way because we have that foundation of certainty and security already built. And that's going to enable you to show up more powerfully when you decide to invest, whether it's a business or real estate or anything else. You're going to show up as the most powerful version of yourself. And once again, there's not another asset alive that's going to be able to provide you the ability to do both of those things, create certainty and provide flexibility for variety, all inside of one asset. That is why my buddy Caleb Williams wrote the book, The And Asset. And the reason he did that is because it's not an either or conversation. When you create the security inside of the whole life policy, you can actually go out and create the variety and the uncertainty outside of the policy. You're never taking risk inside of the policy. You're always using the policy to leverage and create opportunity that you have to grow and become who you need to be to create the return outside of that policy. And that's why I always say, who is whole life insurance for? It's for real estate investors and for entrepreneurs predominantly. Now, it's for everybody, but I guess that's why I love to work with entrepreneurs and real estate investors. Now, the third basic human need is significance. Now, significance can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. How we're seen, how our significance need and drive is filled or fulfilled can be different for all of us, and it can be different in different ways, right? My need to be significant in my family, in my marriage, in my community. How I show up there is going to be different than in my kids' life, and how they see me as significant in their life. They don't care about all the stuff I do on YouTube. They don't care about all the stuff I do in the life insurance space. So they don't care about all my poker accolades and all these different things. They care about how I show up for them, how much time I spend with them, that quality time and the impact in the conversations and all these things, how present I could be with them. To them, because they're at such a young age, that is significance, right? To my wife, significance, how I can be significant with her is different. How I show up and create significance in my professional life is completely different. My need to be significant might be higher than your need, but make no mistake about it, everybody has a significance drive. And one of the things I love about whole life insurance is that I believe it's got the ability to allow us to be significant in a lot of different ways. I just talked about it with the variety. Well, variety equals opportunity in my world, right? Like the ability, the more prepared you are, the more saved you are, the more you do this in the right organization, in the right order. Nelson Nash always says it. When you build your policies the proper way, opportunity seems to have a way of tracking you down. And so when we look at it from that perspective and through that lens, what I can say is significance will be elevated because the more opportunity that comes after you, people are going to be tracking you down, looking for you to invest in opportunities. You're going to never be in a position where you can't seek out opportunities, and it's going to allow you to kind of professionally show up and be more significant. You're going to be a bigger player and have more opportunity, and that will in turn just drive that significance. Now, on the other side of things, there's the other side of whole life insurance, which is the insurance component, which is we talk about leaving a legacy of significance. And I talked to Scott Donnell, who's this guy who runs Gravy Stack, great app. Had an interview with him. I'll put it up here. Once again, an amazing conversation about being a parent and raising kids and having that significance and leaving, talking about heritage and not inheritance. We talk about life insurance. We talk about all these different things, but I also think it's really important for us from a significance perspective to not just think about what we're leaving to our kids, but what we're leaving in our kids. And I think Scott put that so clearly. And when we look at it from that perspective, once again, whole life insurance, when we talk about how we talk about structuring finances, and when we do it in the right way, it's going to allow us to be prepared for that opportunity, which is going to drive our personal significance drive. And then on the other side of it, it's going to help us be significant as far as the impact that we make in our family. And it's also going to create that security and unsecurity all at the same time. So the fourth basic need from Tony Robbins is actually connection and love. Here's the deal. I just am a huge believer that how we handle our money and what we do with our personal finances and how we structure our financial lives with a goal, not to just chase down the money, but to create a lifestyle, right? And when we create a specific lifestyle, and we're not just chasing this ideal of accumulated money and chasing freedom, but we're out there and we're trying to chase freedom, and we're trying to chase an ideal that is time freedom, so we can show up in our lives in the most powerful way, the most powerful version of ourselves. Because if you can focus, and this is why I wrote my book, Cashflow Hacking, because if you can focus your life and energy in other areas that are passion points of yours, that are in areas that you love, I promise you, you're going to have more connection with more people and more love. It's my conversation with Michael Isom. He talks about human life value and the importance of understanding human life value. Our connection with people is our currency. I believe that to the bottom of my heart. Like, our connection, our ability to connect with people is really what human life value is all about. And if you have that really clearly understood, and if you execute from a place of complete clarity about what your human life value is, it's not about dollars and cents, it's about relationships. Because if you have that clear and you're showing up and you're adding value in other ways, you're never going to have to worry about the dollars and cents balance sheet. That's just going to take care of itself, because it's just a scoreboard for understanding the human life value side of it. So the fifth human need, according to Tony Robbins, is growth and expansion of ourselves. Now, this is probably my favorite part of this concept and what whole life insurance, and the reason I'm so passionate about whole life insurance is because of the fact that when you look at who you are right now, you probably are not who you need to be where you want to be. And that's okay. I say it all the time. You are where you are because of who you are in life. And that is true for you. It's true for me. It's true for everybody. And one of the reasons I started Life 180 is because I think your money should be aligned with your values and your beliefs. And unfortunately, too many people are living in a way where their money is not in alignment with their values and beliefs. And there's an incongruency there. And that is leading to most of the problems when it comes to financial illiteracy in this world, and the lack of financial execution, and the fact that people are kind of living with this microwave mindset and trying to just do things now and not worry about the futures, because they don't believe in their subconscious that they're going to be successful in the future, and they're not focused on becoming who they need to be to get where they want to go, because they don't understand why they want to get there, why it's so important, and they haven't thought about these 6 basic human needs in a very articulate fashion. And when we talk about Life 180, living intentionally for excellence, we have to begin with the end in mind. We have to reverse engineer a plan to get there. And when we talk about growth and expansion and the need for that, I ask you, is your financial strategy, is the way you're investing, is it set up in a way that is forcing you to grow, to become who you want to be, to live the life that you want to live? And if the answer is no, I'm going to tell you, without even knowing what you're doing, that your financial strategy is not the right financial strategy for you. And that is why we do what we do. That whole growth, the idea of building financial structure and starting from the foundation and building from the bottom up. Here's the deal. If you're starting from scratch, or if you're starting with some assets, or you're doing whatever, the bottom line is, I promise you, if you focus on structure before going out and investing, it's going to do a couple things for you. It's going to focus first and foremost on you growing and changing and learning and executing and building self-discipline and doing all these things to execute, to be able to build that foundation. The great part there is it's going to save you from a lot of mistakes and a lot of strife, because now by the time you go out and you say, hey, I want to take risk, I want to invest in real estate or a business or even stocks and other assets, by the time you go to make those decisions to be willing to take those risks, you're going to have grown so much in the saving process, in the structure process, you're going to make better decisions. you're going to be able to execute more effectively. And then it's going to reduce your risk and increase your returns. That's why I always tell people, you got to be willing to go slow to go fast. And that's what I'm talking. You got to save first, but save with the intent of investing. You just got to be willing to take the time to get there. I'd rather take less risk and earn 4% over a 5, 6, 7 year period of time. And then in that 7th year, instead of making 4%, make 100% with less risk in an area that I control the results, versus going out and trying to chase 10 to 12% returns in the markets and have all this risk and not really have any control and not really understand what I'm doing. A lot of times people feel better, but once again, going back to the beginning, they're speculators, they're not investors, and they don't have their understanding of like their secured future and the certainty of the future, right? They don't have their 6 basic needs balanced out. And when you do that in the wrong way, and you haven't focused on building your foundation and focused on aligning your money with your values and beliefs and put a prioritization on growth, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And the final need is contribution. Now, contribution is just one of those things where I think when we talk about whole life insurance, it enables you to contribute in so many different ways. Obviously, you're going to contribute to the legacy of your family. You're going to have more an ability to contribute to your family. You're going to have more of an ability to contribute to your community. You're going to be able to contribute more to yourself, right? You're going to be able to show up as the most powerful version of yourself. And what better way is there to create the greatest contribution of what God put you on this earth to do than to align yourself in a way that allows you to show up as the best version of that self? Your money, I would counter and anybody that argues this and encourage anybody to think that you have a unique ability, that God put you on this earth for something special, and that you have a responsibility with that to execute on that. Now, what I know to be true is that a lot of people are struggling with money, and they're struggling with money, like I said, because their money is not in alignment with their values and beliefs. Their money is not being utilized as a tool to elevate themselves and become the highest version of themselves, to make that greatest contribution. And so when we look at this and we realize that if you implement a whole life insurance policy as the foundation of your life, it's going to give you the security for the future. It's going to provide you to take advantage of the uncertainty and variety of other opportunities. It's going to give you the ability to feel significant, right, in that whole process, because you're going to be living a significant life, making an impact with a lot of people. And because you're making that impact with a lot of people and creating that significance, you're going to feel more connection and more love. You're going to feel it with people in your community, people in your professional life. You're going to feel it with your family and all this stuff, because of the fact that you know you're doing something significant. You know you're doing something esteemed. You know you have this asset that I always call it a self-completing plan. What you want to happen will happen when you want it to happen, whether you're here to see it or not. To me, that shouldn't be understated or just brushed over. The fact that you can execute a plan that what you want to happen is going to happen, because of the fact that there's a whole life insurance component to this, that on top of your savings that you can leverage and go out and take risks and variety and create opportunities and do all these things. It's got that backstop to make sure that your wife, your husband, your kids, your community, your church, organizations that you support, whatever it is, your business partners, all these people are going to be taken care of, and the impact that you want to make on this earth and the significance you want to leave is going to be there. And because you know you're doing that, you're going to feel more connection and more love. And all at the same time, because you're doing this and you're committed to a process, you're always going to feel like you're having progress and growth. Not saying it's going to be easy, not going to say it's linear. There's definitely peaks and valleys to all this always. But having that growth and having that progress and knowing that you're working towards something significant is one of the biggest drivers, at least in my life. I'm wildly committed to growth. That's one of the things my wife and I have kind of deemed as a core value of our family. And I just know that that's a huge thing. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm a big believer that we have a responsibility to contribute to this world and leave it better than what we inherited. And nobody's perfect in that. Like I said, once again, it's not this linear thing, but whole life insurance allows us to be really, really specific on how we want to contribute, and it opens doors. And like I said, there's no other asset in the world that will be able to fill all these needs and help you become who you need to be to live, to get to where you want to go and live the life that you want to live to meet all these needs. And to me, if we just took a step back and stopped worrying about dollars and cents and balance sheets and investing and all this stuff in products, I know I'm talking about a product in whole life insurance, but if we just kind of stepped away from it all and everybody just focused not on what do I want to invest in, what kind of account do I want to save my money in, what are the technicals of like, what are the rates of return, what do all the things look like? If we didn't think about that, but we just focused on these basic human needs, what our contribution wanted to be, what kind of impact we wanted to leave, how are all these needs being met for me, and how can I align my money with those values and beliefs and needs, what I believe to be true, and one of the reasons that I believe in whole life insurance so much is because of the fact that it's not about pushing the product, it's about the fact that people fall into the product when they are clear on what they want to accomplish. So anyway, hope that makes sense. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, I'd love it. Share it, like it, all the things. I think this is one of the most important messages I've probably ever done on this channel. So hopefully it impacted you. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. And that's it. Until next video, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.